In 1819, Sir Stamford Raffles arrived in Singapore and made a strange strategic decision. He did not build a fleet, he built a free port. For 2 centuries, the ships have belonged to others, the cargo belongs to others, the destinations belong to others, but almost nothing moves through this region without passing through this exact water. The harbor never sails, and the harbor never loses. In 1970, Robert Greenleaf brought this concept into the business world with the term servant leadership. He was inspired by a Hermann Hesse story about a servant named Leo who does menial work to hold an expedition together, only for the group to discover Leo was actually the head of the order sponsoring the journey. This wasn't a question of temperament, but of status. In the 1st century, Jesus countered the Roman model of authority with a linguistic escalation. To be first, one had to be doulos ponton, a slave without a contract. He then performed the work of a non-Jewish slave, the foot washing, with no audience to record the gesture. Raffles and the early church both point to a specific strategy. You gain influence not by competing for a seat at the top, but by becoming the infrastructure that the entire system relies on. Today, we use the language of servant leadership fluently in our boardrooms. That fluency is precisely the danger. We see leaders serving because engaged people stay longer and cost less to replace. That is a compensation scheme with better vocabulary. We see the visible towel, the photographed gesture, menial work performed strictly for public relations. Look at this organizational structure. The executive physically drops to the bottom layer in title or demeanor, yet rigid lines of process remain firmly tethered above. A man can wash feet all week and still hold the agenda, the appointments, and the record. That is a monarch with excellent bedside manner. The diagnostic for genuine service is not a private feeling of humility. It is a narrow, measurable reality. What have those I serve been permitted to cost me? Everything we have discussed so far concerns individuals. The math changes when the servant is an institution. You stop competing for the cargo and you start owning the water. Consider the structure Jamsetji Tata built for his holding company. 2/3 of the equity is permanently locked into charitable trusts. This was not a foundation bolted on after the fortune was made. Ownership was given away at the root. The House of Tata has outlasted 150 years of extreme Indian political weather. The reason for that survival is written right into the cap table. Or look at Toyota. They taught their legendary production system to fierce rivals like Ford and General Motors. They hosted them and walked them through the line, fully confident that the method was never their competitive moat. The culture that generated the method was intentionally surrendering a core asset, whether equity or a proprietary method, is the exact mechanism that makes an institution indispensable to its ecosystem. 19th century missionary leaders understood this. Henry Venn set his agency's own redundancy as its primary strategic goal, while Hudson Taylor surrendered his European headquarters to move his center of gravity directly into China. But the clearest historical proof of this mechanism is the relationship between 2 men in the early church, Barnabas and Saul. Barnabas held the power. He fetched Saul out of obscurity, vouched for him, and sponsored him into the room. For chapters, the institutional hierarchy is fixed. The text reads, Barnabas and Saul. Then, in Acts 13, it changes. The text flips the sequence of names. It permanently reads, Paul and Barnabas. There is no justification given and no conversation recorded. Real institutional surrender does not require a press release. Its effectiveness is proven by a quiet surrender of the headline. If you run a company or sit on a board, you have a scarce resource to offer global movements. They have abundant theology. What they lack are operators, people who have met a payroll, priced a risk, and held a line with a regulator. But offering that expertise requires 2 distinct disciplines. First, you only serve where it deepens your core strength, rather than depleting it through generic attrition. When Volvo gave away the seatbelt patent, they kept the association. 65 years later, safety is still the first word anyone says about the brand. The second discipline is keeping a ruthlessly inspectable house. Reaching out to help an ecosystem is often a flattering alternative to the unglamorous work of running your own balance sheet well. Goodwill is the one asset that cannot be self-declared. It is only manufactured when a tightly run organization successfully bolsters the broader ecosystem around it. Eventually, this operating system will become expensive. You will convene a room, and someone else will close the business in it. You will open a crucial door, and you will not be named in the announcement. A movement you strengthened will describe its own momentum without mentioning you at all. When you are entirely forgotten, that is not a failure of strategy. It is the ultimate proof that the mechanism worked. The harbor does not resent the ships. It just holds the water.